Thanks for submitting your work, Daniella. I was reading your writing. I find it to be very interesting, and thank you for including this written kind of synopsis of your methodology here. It's really important. I learn a lot about how students are learning based on their writing. It's really phenomenal. So thank you so much for including this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. Attach my sketches, final work. I've read through this, but I just want there's a couple of things I want to address. I had to do work on my iPad. Do you have an iPad Pro? Oh, gosh, I want one so bad. I am so used to using my Wacom tablet with my workstation. It's a big 23-inch. It's just I'm just so interested in an iPad Pro, but man, they are so expensive. I was wondering if you are using an iPad Pro. I'm getting ready to make that transition. Anyway, so I choose. I can't pronounce his name, but he is physics, right? So that's great. My poster won Nobel Prize in '83 for his theoretical study of evolution of stars. Big astrophysics fan myself, and I knew right choice for me. Excellent. That's fantastic. So you have some passion about, and whenever you can incorporate passion into a design project, it's going to be better. That's why I really, really recommend all students do as much research on topics as they can, and designers as much research on topics as you can, so you can develop a passion. One of the things you don't want to hear as a design, an art director or a creative director, one of the things you don't want to hear is, "Oh boy, I'm just not interested in that." If I hear one of my designers say that, there's some repercussion. It's not important whether you're interested. It's important for you to become interested and develop a passion on the topic. Therefore, that passion will translate to design. So I think this is really a kind of a built-in luxury for you that you're so passionate about astrophysics. That's fantastic. Okay, but wondering if I should. Okay, wait a second. That also became my tagline. Wait a second. Big astrophysics was a choice for me the first time I'm going to follow the evolution of a star from birth to a black hole. That also became my tagline. Oh, I see. Excellent. Okay, so I was wondering, should I name each stage of the stars below or above the illustration, but that might take away from the importance of the body text. I agree. We'll talk about that in a second. I have to see how that works out. And of course, yes, we all always have to. Even if we have a thumbnail established, you might find that there's going to be some inherent changes that are required when you move to your digital rendering. So that's a good point there. I also said the black and white. I understand that. I get it, and that's cool. I'll talk about that too. Kind of mimic outer space in the dark and cold. Unlimited colors is probably illustration. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go jump right into the work. Okay, so right now I only see one. I see. Really, we only have one iteration here, even though you're showing two. This is the first front, so you have one front cover and then you have another front cover, but it's presented in both black and white and then white on black. So there's really only two iterations here. So, but don't forget in the assignment requirements right up here, it says we need, and in the milestones, create several thumbnail sketches of various layouts for the front and the back. So we want to provide several sketches. I'd say 4 would be fine. Okay, now right now, if we take a look at this sketch and then this other, they're basically kind of iterations of the same concept, right? So they're not completely different concepts. As a designer, you want your sketches to be really different when you're coming up with your concept sketches. So this way you're giving your client and or your creative or art director a lot of variety to choose from, and that's really important. Again, this is just an iteration of this, okay? Timeline, that's interesting. The back is interesting. This is kind of interesting. Now, one thing I want to mention though is think about that kind of visual transformation, substitution, and visual correspondence, as well as continuation. And we studied that all, and those are all available on page 115 to 120 of your textbook. But we kind of want to create this visual language where you're using elements. You establish elements on the front and then continue them on the back. That will create harmony. Let me give you an example in our examples over here. And I'm on that same page. Part 1 page. But this example right here, this typography right here has kind of set this thing up. All right. So we're not using illustration. We're using illustration as typography. All right. It's really important. The illustration has got to be incorporated into the typography. You can't just present a name and put an illustration over here, right? You've got to use illustration, and that is basically covered right here in one of the objectives. And photographic imagery, and it's basically, but where is it? Choices you make must regard the type, color, shape, must express the content and subject. You must include elements as mentioned above and visually support the story. Okay, so and then also, hang on one second. Okay, anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that it's really, really important to try to incorporate, we see this in all of the examples, you try to incorporate the message, if it's going to be illustrative, if it's got to be incorporated right into the type. We can see that in all of the examples. Okay, and then one other thing you notice is that the timeline is also very closely related to the front of the poster. Okay, so here we have the guitar, then we have the timeline created from this musical staff. Here we have this kind of electronic representation of an illustration, which kind of doubles right down here and creates the timeline. Here we have the chain that comes down here and doubles as the timeline. So think about that. Okay, so in the front, we don't want any illustration at all unless it's typographic. No images on the front. The image has got to be on the back of the poster. That's covered in those requirements. So that basically is what I'm after. I'm after using elements from the front of the poster to continue onto the back of the poster. Probably most successfully will be done through your timeline. And then we just need a couple of more iterations here for your sketch ideas. Okay, so you're doing good stuff here. I think you got a good idea of where you want to go and how you want to get there. But let's definitely get over here into this page here and just really spend some time, become intimate with these objectives, instructions, milestones, and examples. Okay, and then also I highly recommend, I don't know if you've done this or not yet, but I highly recommend that you spend some time in Welcome to Week 5 as well as Final Project Explained with examples deconstructed. These are going to give you a really, really good leg up on understanding and presenting your work. Okay? All right, any questions at all, please let me know. Thanks, Danielle.